Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this morning's webinar, which is all about managing changing priorities. I'm Ruth Rowan, owner of Building Business Consultancy, and we are the business support providers for the Enterprise East North Ants Business Support Programme. I'd like to welcome this morning a business guest. I'm really excited about this. We've got Gemma Suter, Director of Hensman's Hair Salon. They've been trading for over 40 years, and she's here this morning to really share her experience of managing changing priorities and things that they've implemented as an organisation over the last six months in relation to changing priorities and things that have been going on and happening. So welcome, Gemma. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so we're just going to spend the next 10 minutes, I hope that's okay, Gemma, really just talking about, I know we had a brief conversation before, and it's just really talking about changing priorities for business. And I've got some headings on here, and I know when we discussed things yesterday, you mentioned some of these things. So maybe you could go into a bit more detail about some of these areas, just in relation to what's changed, what priorities have changed, and how you've adapted and developed as an organisation.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, I think, we were in an ever-changing world at, quite a rapid speed already. And I think, COVID coming along has accelerated some of these changes and is having to predict what the future holds for us as a business. I think, some of the things we've had to sort of accelerate is more sort of our computer software systems and how we interact with clients in a sort of technological sense. And I think, as a hairdressing business, maybe we were a little bit slower to reach some of those things previously, even though we're always, as a company, quite a forward-thinking company that like to get ahead. But actually, we've had to really look and try and predict what the future holds. One of the changes we've had to make is, an online consultation system and being able to interact, with our clients in a sort of online forum way, because we can't interact in the same way with having to close for such, extended periods of time. Every second that we were in the salon had to count. So we needed to, whereas we might say, come in, have a chat, and we'll consult with you. Of course, we still offer that, but actually we had to then have another way of people being able to communicate with us. So that's been a phenomenal change for us, in the fact that, even for us stylists, they're far more aware to be able to know what's happening prior to the client coming in, which they love. So that's been a real positive change for us, because, I think the unknown is always daunting, and sort of that can give you a little bit anxiety, and especially with our younger, stylists coming up, that is something that is more of that we have to think a little bit more about, and as well across the team, because COVID has put extra pressures on people. So I think, this definitely helps them to have that sort of pre-communication, pre-thought process of being able to really work with their client and, see what's coming ahead. So that's been great.
Is that what's the response been from customers for that?
Yeah, phenomenal. They've really, really liked it. And again, we've had to look at spending patterns with clients. Things are totally different to what they were. We've had to change rosters. We've had to change late nights, because actually we've got more people coming in the day that are potentially working as well at the same time at times, or fitting it into a busy schedule. So we've got, make sure we've got chargers and points where people can go and work if they need to at the same time, because life is just different to what it was. But yeah, definitely been a really positive outcome, and clients have just, again, been so thankful that we put in new processes for them, really.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that sounds really good. And I think, like you said, it's freed up your time in the salon to actually deliver the services that you're there to do. And I suppose minimising the impact of the numbers of people coming into the salon, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, without doubt, and that's, you know, had to completely change for us, you know, when we sort of you know, had to get our heads around the idea of it being a totally COVID secure, you know, safe world, minimal people coming, you know, having to adapt how we do skin tests. And again, when people are coming into the salon, they're just coming into for their service. We've really had to, you know, change a lot of our working practices, you know, move our whole salon around, you know, to allow for social distancing. And, you know, people have, you know, we've had so many positive comments, thankfully, come through saying, thank you for, you know, we can see the effort that's gone into making your salon very COVID secure. So yeah, without a doubt,
Yeah.
definitely.
And you were quite sort of not lucky, but the way that your salon was already set up, it was easily movable, wasn't it? So you could.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, we made a decision of, you know, a few years ago that we actually, because we are also a training academy, we wanted to have it as a multi-purpose space. So, in fact, our dressing stations are on wheels and they can be moved so that we can move it to more of a lecture style environment as well. And I think from that point of view, we were very, very lucky to have that. We could move everything, and we have moved everything in order to, you know, make our clients feel as comfortable as they possibly can coming into this environment in this, you know, difficult time.
Yeah, and the way the business operates, then you were talking to me yesterday, so around opening hours and pricing and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, pricing wise, we've had to, you know, we've had to adapt that because of, you know, extra PPE costs and longer time, you know, and we felt it was important. We didn't actually, what we said to all of our clients was that actually we have a different scale of timing for our cuts, for example. So a 30-minute, 45 or 60-minute. And the standard, to be fair, is 45 minutes, unless someone has very short hair, of which then we go down to the 30-minute. But we sort of said to our clients, look, we need to, you know, for this first one back, your hair's going to be longer, your hair's going to be different, your hair's going to be, you know, take more time. And, you know, that was very well received. And we charged everyone out at the 60-minute haircut. And, you know, we've had to have a few increases of PPE charges and what have you. But you just have to, you know, adapt to what's going keep you in business, and hopefully for another however many years. You know, we're celebrating 40 years this year, so it's not quite been the celebration we wanted, but you know, we've made the most of it. And luckily we had a little celebration in January, which was the actual date. So yeah, you just have to work with the changing times. And you know, so far everyone's been really pleased and really thankful for everything we've done.
Yeah, and you mentioned about your opening times, and you said that before around people's different ways of working as individuals. So we've got a lot more people working from home now, and you said to me that actually people are coming in the day more now and
Yeah,
wanting to work from the salon.
different change of pattern. We've got far more people coming in the day, and perhaps less people coming, although we do still fill our Saturdays. Certainly less people coming, less demand for the late nights than there was before.
Yeah,
Um,
really interesting, isn't it?
that
It's
had to change with our staff, and they've adapted. You know, they've been really, really great at adapting to. We might have to work this way for the next, you know, 6 to 9 months, and then we might have to change it again. But we've just got to work with the market and predict what's going to happen and fit with that, in order to sort of, you know, stay ahead, really.
Yeah, and with your staffing and your management of staff, you've obviously had major changes in the way that staff are working in relation to, you know, who would have thought a year ago that a hairdresser would have to wear a mask and a visor all day to work, you know, and it's quite a hot environment sometimes, isn't it, in the sense of dryers and things like that.
Yeah, I think, you know, it is a very hot environment. And I think, you know, at first we got used to the visor and we were quite sort of, well, at least it's not, you know, double PPE. And then we obviously did have to then, you know, but safety is more important than anything. And I think, you know, where we've had to adapt with that is allowing our stylists and our team to have, you know, whereas we would have had an hour's lunch, now they have chosen to sort of break it down into some smaller gaps. So some of them choose to have 2 half-an-hours because it's just a bit easier. Some have, some more staggered 15-minute breaks, because they prefer that in order to have that break from the PPE, where they go into the area that we have for the team on their own, because we can't share the staff room facilities, but we work that around a break schedule. And that seems to work for, or actually we have adapted. We would have never had this before, but because the students have got their own pod or their own bubble as such, they would actually be able to sort of have their lunch, or if they have a break, they can have it in their area, which but prior to this we would have never sort of allowed people to have breaks on salon floors. But we have to do what's right, and it's all about the health and mental well-being of our team, and them being able to work in that environment and still enjoy their job, because we don't want them coming to work not enjoying it, because things have got a lot tougher than they used to be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think your industry is one of the worst hit, along with retail and hospitality. I think it's you're in a second full lockdown, so you can't actually trade. So in the sense of communication internally and externally, is that really you've had to really increase that? But I suppose communicating in different ways as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think, whereas what we're finding, which is great for us as a salon, of course, people, some people are very willing to give all their details and their emails and what have you, and follow you through social media channels. Whereas there are, a sector of people that don't want to be flooded with that sort of communication. But obviously, since lockdown, that has greatly changed for us. And people are like, yes, please take my email, take my details, because they want to be kept in the loop of what's going on. So that's been a real positive for us. And I think, yeah, I think we've had to, we have actually changed, since lockdown, our whole, software system, because that was something that we found a company that were really progressive in their sort of thought pattern and working with alongside clients, which, thankfully with the second lockdown, it's been so much easier with them. They had an email straight away ready to go that we could just drop and, put our details in, telling our clients what's going on. Our digital magazine company were amazing, and they, because obviously, we weren't able to offer magazines at all, or, even drinks at first. So the magazine company became digital, and they've let us offer that to all of our clients free of charge during lockdown. So I think, I think it really pays off to talk to the companies that you're dealing with. Some of them were amazing during the first lockdown, and we've said, this lockdown, well, look, let's just see how we go. If it's only a month, then things should be fine. But we just have got to go with it, really. And it's sad. We've got friends in Ireland that have just heard that they're not going to be able to open for very long again now, and hard as an industry to see them be hit again. They've been closed for 5 weeks now. I think we've just got to all pull together and unite and just say, we've all got a common goal to beat this, and we'll have to do what's necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you said, it's key, that internal and external communication. And like you said, having your team meetings, you're still doing things like that, aren't you, even during lockdown?
Yeah, so we keep, and we have, in fact, even when we were back, kept the team meetings via Zoom, because our team were really passionate about, every minute we're there, we need to be doing clients. So, we might stop for a half an hour break normally. So again, we've adjusted that, and, we have that, maybe more towards the end of the day, or earlier on, or they will sometimes do that on their day off, and all, group together just to keep those lines of communication going. So that if we are meeting, because again, that still has to be in full PPE, so we want to make sure that it's as comfortable as possible, and we're still listening to our team, and they help us to move on.
Yeah.
So Zoom's been phenomenal. We've all had to learn how to get used to different forums, and it's been great for the team, and I think that's something we will continue with.
Yeah. Oh no, that's really good. And I think, and have you been talking and having meetings with your suppliers the same way as well?
having meetings. Some suppliers have, come in and we've had to meet with them more in person. But yeah, a lot of online meetings with suppliers. And, again, you've just got to keep those open lines of communication between us all. And, that works. I mean, it's not going to completely replace. I mean, we have in a few days our British Hairdressing Awards in a week or so, and that's all going to be online, and that won't be the same. But there are some things that are great for being online, and even, to be honest, being able to have more of a meetings with even our younger apprentices, because we used to do a lot of coaching. That's something that had to stop. So we're trying to keep all of that going as best as we possibly can, because they're the people that will suffer, the younger people of the generation that are looking to progress and move on, and we need to keep that going, ready for school leavers, for example, next year. So we've done a lot of online communication.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And I just want to just finish really there. I know you've done a lot of stuff around again, social media strategies and things like that to support staff as well, and getting them and encouraging them. I suppose it's the right content, isn't it? And sharing.
Yeah, I think we took a brave step to actually all of our staff now have their own Instagram page, because a lot of what it's hard as a hairdresser, because you kind of do work in your own little bubble, even though you're amongst and part of a team. And I think we sort of, is that the right decision? Even with our new software company, they now have their own app and a bit more control over their access to their columns and what have you, rather than it just being, say, on our reception. And that was do we, don't we, it's got negatives and positives attached to it, but we have to move on, and we have to accept that clients will come to us as a brand, and we have contracts in place to protect this, and social media policies and all of that, and so far it's it works really well.
Yeah, and just the other thing I wanted to talk to you about as well, with regards to, we've been supporting businesses to look at alternative ways to sell, so online and digital solutions, when they can't actually do things, and you've been working really hard on that, haven't you?
Yeah, that's something that we're currently just about to launch, hopefully the tail end of next week. So, not necessarily going to benefit us at this lockdown if it finishes when it is due to.
Yeah.
But definitely long term, things are changing, and I think for us to be able to, we're sort of working on sort of more of a concept where, a recommendation concept. So if you were to say to me, I need something, I'm not coming in till next time, but I need something to do this for my hair, then we can recommend that out to you, and there's an online shop and we can filter through that. So hopefully, I think you have just got to look at, this is going to be with us still for a little while to come, so you have got to look at different ways of bringing revenue into the company when you can't be open.
Yeah, and I also think, even it's like you said, it's not going anywhere anytime soon, and it's always going to be in the back of people's minds, whether it's this or something else. But again, I think what we've seen changes in buying behavior and buying patterns. So
yeah.
I think customers are wanting access to that, and it is very much around, I can't just drop in and pick my shampoo if I run out into the salon, because that's not appropriate. So there needs to be an alternative way of doing that. And I know that when we had a conversation, you discussed it, and again, which I thought was really interesting, the products that you were looking at selling online, and actually you had to ensure that they were.
Yeah, we've had to, because online buying is a problem to us when retailing as hairdressers.
Yeah.
And so, we have this constant competition between, well, actually, we can't do it, at the price that some of the, online companies do, because we can't buy in the numbers that they need to buy in to be able to offer it at that. And so we have actually carefully selected now some brands that are, hairdresser kind of led and only sold in hairdressers, and they are not an online company that, they won't be able to, they're a professional brand that won't be able to just be bought, more mainstream.
Yes.
They actually coincide with an amazing tool that we've now got, an analyzer, which will analyze and scan your hair health. And then you get the recommendations through that as to what will work best on your hair. And sometimes results can be really surprising. It's not what you think your hair needs. And I think that's sometimes the negative of online is, how do I know that this is definitely what I need? So it's okay kind of repeat buying, but sometimes new buying, you do need that bit of guidance, what's of someone that is a more, professional in knowing what your hair needs.
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. I think it sounds like you guys work so hard, and I'm sure they're still changing priorities all the time.
Yeah,
every single time, like most of us, your heart's in your mouth every single time Boris comes on TV.
Yeah.
Quite sure what he's going to say, all the impact, of what that's going to happen. And then again, the priorities are going to change. And, we've also got Europe, exit coming up, and that's going to hit any business, because at some point the supply chain there. So again, the changing priorities are going to happen
Try
there.
not to take a breath and go, yeah, okay, right, what's going to be our new direction?
And I think, like you said, you've got all of those systems and processes, and the communication lines are really clear, so you can quite quickly adapt and change. And I think, what we've seen is businesses really thrive and develop because they are changing their priorities, and they're doing it quickly, rather than saying, I can't do it the way I always do it, so I'm just going to sit tight until I can do it that way again. You can't work like that.
Yeah, you can't. No, definitely not.
Yes, okay, brilliant. No, thank you so much. That's been really, really interesting. I just want to just leave you guys just a couple more slides, really, with regards to change success. So it's around changing priorities and successfully, really. And there's a people side of change, and there's lots of stuff around this online that you'll be able to find. But it's about that awareness, isn't it? So it's awareness that the changing priorities need to happen. It's a desire that we want to make those changes, and we are going to prioritize them, and the knowledge, the ability, and then the reinforcement. And I think, Gemma's talked about this. It's the constant communication and the reinforcement that actually those changes that are being made, they are a priority, but they are a priority for a positive and to a benefit for the business. And again, as a business, there's key phases of change. So it's really what the business needs. It's coming up with the concept and design. So, as Gemma mentioned before, they've worked really hard on so many different areas of their business, from technology to new routes to market, to communication with staff, and also communication and customer service with their customers. And they've already seen different buying patterns and behaviours that they're having to adapt their business to meet. So it's really that concept and design. And then the implementation, I think, is really key. But the most important thing really is the post-implementation. So it's ensuring that we are making these changes to react to things that are happening, but we're also reviewing, because again, like we've said, you take a deep breath and you take every day step by step, because we are in a world where it is changing really quickly, and it's about that post-implementation. Is it working? Is it not? We need to reevaluate it. And look at how we can implement those changes differently. So I think that's just some key information there. And just finally, I want you to just leave you with this. And when Gemma and I had a discussion yesterday, it was really successfully managing changing priorities. And we really said, you mentioned, Gemma, didn't you? It's about predicting, isn't it?
Predicting what the future will be, yeah.
Yeah, and we can do that, with the knowledge and the information that's out there. And like you said, Gemma, you're working with your partners in other countries. So with Ireland, that and maybe going through a different process and a different system, but actually can share their knowledge and their experience, which is really helpful. So I think that's really key for businesses. It's not about being alone, is it? It's about working with other organisations in your industry.
Can't always fix, but you can't you to what other people say, and then start to gain ideas and from your peers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then the second thing is plan. So it's making sure that you've got a clear plan, and then really proceeding. It's making those changes and seeing through those changes that you need to make. And it's really, all of those three things really help you deal with changing priorities. So I think I just wanted to leave that with you, the 3 Ps of predict, plan and proceed. And that's really key when we are looking at changes and changing priorities. So thank you for listening this morning. I know obviously you guys are now watching this after we've delivered. So if you've got any questions, please do message us. We'd really like to hear from you. There's so many other services available throughout East Northants through the Enterprising East Northants Recovery Programme. Please do come and speak to us. We want to hear about your business, how it's doing, how we can help you. So our details are there. And I know there's more details to follow at the end of the webinar, but thank you very much. And I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Thank you.